Okay, Smackdown. Friday night Smackdown. Las Vegas. Draft night. Oh, this fucking show. I don't even know what to say about this draft. This draft became. I could have a lot to say about this draft. Became very predictable. And I don't know what you can really take from this, but a lot of things made no sense with this draft, and we're going to go over all of this tonight. Because, yes, this is Friday Night SmackDown. This is supposed to be the big night. This is supposed to be where things are changing. But the more things, I wouldn't even say change, but what is this saying? The more things change, the more they seem to stay the same. Is that the saying? I know I've said it before. But, what do I have to say about this show? What was really a change here tonight, and if there will be one? All I can say about this draft is that a lot of it did not make sense, including the show for SmackDown also. But I'm only really going to find one highlight into this, and we'll get into it later on. But we will get into the draft first, number one, from Las Vegas, since they've had so much things they announced for it, for the rules of the draft, because I know I read that about, I think it was yesterday or two, about how the draft would be done, and these draft pools, which is a big thing to speak on, because that is what I'm going to get into in a second. But the draft pools, especially between with Raw and SmackDown, is that since there are no GMs, it's going to be Fox and USA being the ones to pick the draft picks, because Raw is a 3-hour show. Raw gets 3 draft picks, and because SmackDown is a 2-hour show, SmackDown gets 2 picks. Pretty much, they said teams will be separated, but I don't think that was really the case tonight, which we kind of thought, but it didn't happen, and some of them didn't that make sense. But looking at these draft picks and who was eligible for tonight, which I thought it was really strange. I'm like, why do we have a draft pool? Because I read it early in the day, but let that draft pool be a thing that needs to be known right now. But it's gonna be really important once you figure it out later on in the night of the names that were picked for the night to get picked on, Friday, and who would get picked on Monday. And I guess 205 Live guys are part of it too. But what can you really say of what was going on here? Because the first pick to determine the first pick was going to be between Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins. Roman Reigns, who represents SmackDown, and Seth Rollins, who represents Raw, which, why not? He's the Universal Champion. It's not like the title's going anywhere, so that's who's going to represent the show. Which, Cole and them kind of put on and say, like, this may be the last time you ever see these two face. Yeah, I'm sure in the next month or two at Survivor Series they will face each other again, but or sooner than that. But this match was supposed to determine the first pick of the draft tonight. But yes, as I was saying, yeah, the draft though, Rollins and Roman pretty much representing both of the shows. Who was going to be the first pick? The match, it wasn't a bad match or anything. Nothing, not much from it. I thought it was okay, but pretty much then, what do? They have, once again, Bray Wyatt attack Seth Rollins. Honestly, I thought they would have been done with this feud at this point after what happened last Sunday in that debacle of a Hell in a Cell match. So, what do? Number one, both of them at least got good reactions during this whole thing. But what can I really add from this? Pretty much, Wyatt came from under the ring. He went through the ring. He made a hole in it. He drags Seth down with him, putting the mandible claw in him. He dragged him to hell. And then the lights, they start flickering everywhere, of course. And then the smoke came from the ground. Seth crawled back from the hole. And then Wyatt showed up again just to do his laugh thing. And I'm looking at this match and stuff. Was this the finish? Was this a disqualification? What was it? Because who got the first pick? That's what I was wondering, since they're still doing this Seth and Wyatt, which this is not going to really go that long to begin with, after, like I said, after happening on Sunday. What did they do? They at least went back to the commentary table after, the match, and pretty much Seth did win by disqualification, so Raw would get the first pick. At least that was mentioned, but what was the point of doing this? Because honestly, I'm kind of past the whole Seth and Wyatt thing now. Ever since they did that bullshit on Sunday, I just don't even want to see any more matches from these two. They had a chance. They ruined it. That Hell in a Cell was garbage. And we already know about the finish, so we don't need to go even go back into speaking about that. But still, I'm surprised it was even still going. But since Ron's won by disqualification, they went to the war room where they had all these executives, which this didn't make a lot of sense to me of how they were picking this, because they got, first of all, they had a war room. Okay, are they going to war? Is this a military type of thing we're doing now on this show? And one thing, notice Fox had that robot, from all the NFL games. I don't know the name of the robot, but the robot is in the room moving, while the Fox executives are, they got to like, okay, we're writing this person, we want that person. So they're trying to make this look like a legitimate draft as much as they can, almost like how the NFL and the NBA does, I believe. But, they got all these people in a room for USA and all these people in a room for Fox. So they're all supposed to be these sports analysts type of things of who determines the pick. So we're not going to do GM, so we got to do these picks and everything. And then after that, I guess they had Stephanie McMahon come out and draft people and explain all the rules and stuff. But she even said, because she didn't really get much reaction, oh, no booing? I thought you guys were better than this. So she had got the fans to boo at her. And, with this war room and the draft thing, she pretty much announced the pick. Some people said she's supposed to be like, Roger Goodell of the NFL, how they do the NFL draft pick, that the commissioner will come out and name the picks of who's coming to whatever show. So the first pick was Becky Lynch, which honestly, that's a no-brainer. She's the Raw Women's Champion, so what other show would she be going to? Roman Reigns was going to SmackDown. Well, he was already on SmackDown, so he never left anywhere. All of the OC are going to, pretty much will be on Raw, and I kind of figured they would want AJ Styles on. Well, AJ Styles was already on Raw, but I kind of thought AJ was going back to SmackDown, but I guess they're going to keep the U.S. title on Raw with Gallows and Anderson. Bray Wyatt was going to SmackDown, which I think that was at least a notable one. So the whole Seth and Bray thing is over, thank God. But I don't know if Bray Wyatt will become the WWE champion ever on SmackDown, unless they want to try to make him like Taker, how like he dominates SmackDown for years. And Drew McIntyre was going back to Raw. I have no idea where he is. And the whole War Room thing looks silly. You know why? Because when they went to like this live reaction thing with the Fox, they all cheering like, we got Roman. Like, dude, Roman never left SmackDown, okay? So what are you cheering? They got the robot cheering. But this is the thing that you're going to notice. And I can go through separate draft picks later tonight. But I figured this out. And I'm sure you've all figured this out the entire night. The draft pool that they, kind of brought out earlier in the day pretty much spoiled every pick on what's going to happen. And I'm going to go in and get into one for Monday too in a minute, but I want to go over tonight's one because, as I kept looking throughout the night, and I said, this is very similar to that draft pool, because I knew it was very confusing when they had put the names out early in the day. Now, you could have just, had the element of surprise by not saying, you could have just announced everybody. That's all you could have did. But you didn't have. I was wondering, like, why would you announce all these people for Friday, but then you go announce all these people for Monday, or who's eligible tonight and who's not? And the thing they do is this, and I'm sure, like, you all figured out. It's in order of how the list goes, and I figured that throughout the entire night, and it didn't make sense. Cause I'm like, wait, hold on here. Becky was the first one on that list when I read it. Then Roman. Then the OC, then Bray Wyatt, and then McIntyre. And this is how I figured out who was going to go. And I may not have all this right, but I'm a little bit close into this. As I kind of went on and looked on and stuff, this is who I saw in the draft. Because by the last pick will be Raw. Raw will get another pick in the first. So you have to go like by even numbers in 5. If you look at all of them. And I'm like I said, I'm not going to go in order of this whole show, but I might as well talk about this listing of who I think is going to go. And I'm going to get into Monday's one a little bit near the end. But I can tell you right now who is going to whose show, other than the ones they announced tonight. Because and I got the list right here. Becky was first, that's Raw. Roman SmackDown. OC is Raw. The Fiend is SmackDown. McIntyre's Raw. What did they do? They switch it back up to Raw again. Orton is Raw. Sasha Banks is on SmackDown, which I'm sure y'all kind of figured because she lost to Hell in a Cell. Ricochet is on Raw, where he never left Raw. Braun Strowman is on SmackDown, and Bobby Lashley is on Monday Night Raw. And I said, hold up a second. This is exactly what in the list they put out earlier today. And then I just kind of figured out from there who was going to go next. Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. By the way, this made no sense of how they did this. So let me get this straight. They're a team, right? Why didn't you just, hold on a second. But yeah, this is what makes no sense, though. If you know Bliss and Nikki Cross are a team, why did you put them in separate picks? That look like two wastes from Monday Night Raw, okay? They look like wastes. So it's almost kind of like, what was the point of even doing that, huh? Like, you're going to like, okay, we're going to keep them separate, but you could have just announced them as a team. So it's like Raw just wasted 2 picks and everything doing that. And, you know, I just kept going in this pattern of how they were doing this. So it's like they gave away the whole list, all right? Because once I figured out after the second round, early in the night, okay, Bliss and Cross are going to Raw, Lacey Evans going to SmackDown, the Viking, whatever they are, going to Raw, the Revival's going to SmackDown. Obviously, they have the SmackDown tag titles. Natalia's going to Raw. By the way, they went to the Fox thing again, doing these fake reactions, like they give a crap about Natalia. Nope, no one does. Come on, that crowd just looked very flat when they even announced Natalia's name, but they act like they got some big major pick or something throughout the whole night. The Street Profits were going to Raw. The Lucha guys were going to SmackDown. Kevin Owens was going to Raw, and that's where they kind of ended it. And one other team, Heavy Machinery, who were not even listed on tonight's draft pool, were staying on SmackDown. So it's almost like half these guys didn't really go anywhere, okay? And, you know, since I've been figuring this out in my mind, I can tell you who's going to go next. Cesaro going to probably go to SmackDown. That Humberto Carlo dude is going to Raw. And, you know, I'm trying to go back after Natalya. Because if Natalya went to Raw, Street Profits went to Raw, Lucha go to SmackDown, Kevin Owens go to Raw, Cesaro goes to SmackDown. I think I'm on number 5 here, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I'm number 5. Carlo gonna go to Raw, and then Tozawa gonna go to Raw. Sin Cara gonna go to SmackDown. Eric Young gonna go to Raw. EC3's probably getting up on SmackDown. Chad Gable, we're gonna get into him in a second, is gonna go to Raw. I'm trying to do this. Heath Slater will go to Raw. Gulak gonna go to SmackDown. B-Team gonna go to Raw. And Tamina gonna go to SmackDown. Obviously, we're involving the 205 guys in there. They're probably gonna show up on both shows because 205 is still after SmackDown. But 9 times out of 10, they're still gonna be. They're either gonna be on the same show or they're just gonna finally keep most of these 205 guys on the main roster now. But that's honestly, in my mind, with the rest of those picks, and I shit you not, they watch them show up on either Raw and SmackDown when they announce them, okay? Because I'm telling you, those are going to be the picks right there that's going to show. So basically, WWE gave away the whole draft early in the day, and this goes for the one they're going to show on Monday too. So it's almost like you know who's going to get picked, you know the order numbers they're going to go in. Even if they try to mix up separating the team, somehow, some way, they're going to keep the teams together. Why do you think they announced Bliss and Nikki Cross, separately, but they're still a team together? Now, did it make any sense? No, it did not make any type of sense, but they still did it, okay? But it's just basically they gave it the whole way. So I knew there was something wrong with this. I'm like, hold up, I can just basically tell you who's going on which show at this point. Because why even do this draft? Why give away the list? Why couldn't you make it more unpredictable? You just gave away the whole names early in the day. I knew it was something strange when they announced those names early in the day on separate days, and they just had them in order, and they went by the order. They went by the order list. So why? I don't get it. And then, you know, they went to the draft table with Renee Young and Booker T. Beth Phoenix was there. Also Samoa Joe, which by the way, he kind of took a shot at. I felt Moxley like, hey, good to see you, Renee. I'm glad you're the one keeping the lights on at home. I see. That I feel like that was a shot at Moxley for some reason, but I just noticed that joke by Samoa Joe. The King of Waiters comes out. Corbin, which, God, why are we seeing another Corbin versus Gable match? Oh, I'm sorry. Shorty G. This is official now. This is officially Shorty G. Okay, so his name, he's not even Chad Gable anymore. You know, or Shorty Gable, I should say. Listen, I would say it's Shorty G for fun. I didn't think they were really going to change it, but they changed the Titantron and the graphic, and the announcers kept calling him that. So basically, you know, WWE's always had this thing for making fun of short people for years and stuff, but now they changed his name. He is Shorty G. He is now officially Shorty Gable. Where does this go? I have no idea, but from the reaction I've seen from everybody tonight and people I know that have said it, it's horrible. It's terrible. You just kind of killed Gable right there. And why this match again? What do you do? Corbin, he's got to get his win back. 50-50 booking. So he beats Gable within the days for a clean win. I don't know, man. I don't even know what to say. I'm sure people were taking Gable seriously. I'm sure everyone's going to still call him Chad Gable. But it's going to be hard to take him seriously now when you actually changed his name to Shorty Gable. You know, I came up with Shorty G. That was my idea, but still, Shorty Gable, it's still a bad name, but it's official. So once again, we have to see the King of Waiters versus Shorty G out there again. One thing that made no sense, I'm not going to go through all of this too, because it was like many of these segments, because WWE promoted a lot of Fox Sports analysts to be on the show tonight from either the NFL or college football or baseball. Several many celebrities from Fox, and they had like Troy Aikman and Joe Buck out there to talk about the draft. It's almost like they were trying to treat this like the NFL. Okay, they really tried to treat this like the NFL, and it just looked like it wasn't working. People said Troy Aikman looked bored and looked like he was trying to just make up anything. Oh, I would have to pile drive as my finish, and you know they kept showing Undertaker doing the tombstone and stuff. So I don't know. And then they went to the NFL Sunday Kickoff show with, I don't know, Terry Bradshaw and Michael Strahan and, you know, James Brown. They're trying to make it's obviously they either try to make this either football or baseball or anything. They were trying to make this like a college football thing, because come on, they got a whole bunch of college football commercials, a lot of football commercials, because there's football games throughout the weekend on Fox, so they got to promote that too. But they really tried to make this like the NFL, but it's hard. It looked corny. It just looked corny, really. Having all these guys trying to make it sound legitimate. I don't even know why you needed all these Fox Sports, but hey, Fox has got to push their people too. They want the changes. They gotta get their people on there. Same with this War Room crap. It looks silly. It just didn't even look legitimate. Just they're like, okay, we're gonna write this down. We're gonna write that. So they have to do all these things. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman came out. As you know, if you didn't see earlier today, there was a press conference for Blood Money 3, Crown Jewel or whatnot. I should have a remix to this by, I might would just do a review to this show, okay? Blood Money 3, the remix, alright? Blood Money 3, or the mixtape probably. I don't know. I'm sure if you see my Blood Money 2 review, or just Blood Money in general, you've heard the song Blood Money. You've heard that song. I'm sure you all have. Go look up my Crown Jewel review from the last one. You'll have fun with it. And I'm sure I may have fun with this one too. But we all do know that Cain Velasquez, the man walks in, he gets a WWE title shot just for walking in. And I guess they said he retired from UFC, and he has now joined the WWE now in a multi-year deal. And you have Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman. I did not watch this press conference. I wasn't even there to watch it. From what I saw at the photos, they tried to make this look like a legitimate UFC boxing type of event where, you know, they do this, and I don't think it was a weigh-in or anything, but they just had that going on. And, you know, I heard Heyman was there talking. Somebody said Velasquez didn't look... My friend told me Velasquez did not do good up there today. I don't know. I didn't watch the thing, but I just don't get... I'm thinking, am I watching wrestling or am I watching UFC or a boxing match now? Because that's how they just kind of had it. Had a stare down, and like I said, they put the fists up at each other. And I get it now. They want to be like Bloodsport. If you do not know what Bloodsport is, look that up. Because, was it Josh Barnett was running that? And this is basically what I feel like it's almost going into. It's Bloodsport now. Because they did it first. So this is some type of work, shoot type of fight or wherever going with this. And it's got to be in Saudi Arabia. They getting paid all that blood money down there. So we got to make this event look big as possible. So let's have Cain Velasquez, who did nothing to get a WWE title shot. We're going to try to recreate UFC from like 8 years ago. And Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman. It's just a boxing. I don't know. I just don't know. But they're getting paid this shitloads of money, and these Fox or any sports center is eating this up. But getting back into Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. Heyman, of course, he talked about how, Cain Velasquez took the UFC title from Brock Lesnar years ago, and now he wants the WWE title at Crown Jewel. And that, they showed the photos of what happened back then. And that Heyman says, Lesnar, you have to conquer his fears because he knows what the type of fighter Velasquez is. Heyman pretty much says he will conquer his nightmare, Cain Velasquez, at Crown Jewel. But, it's not going to be a spoiler. Next thing you know, Rey Mysterio's music hits. Cain Velasquez and Rey come out. Mysterio said, you forgot to show the footage, which, was, pretty much more of, beating up Lesnar back then in UFC. Velasquez spoke in Spanish. Mysterio translators say that, he's going to give you a matching scar on the other side of your face. Brock looked pissed, so we got to promote this one way or another. And then there was one thing that got me when they showed right after. The New Day was in the back, and I got to say this about Kofi Kingston and the segment that went into this. Kofi was just, in the back with the New Day, doing their shtick, just holding pancakes and doing the introduction. It's almost like Kofi just forgot he was the WWE champion anymore last week. Like, no mention of last week. He doesn't look... He was just happy. He looked like nothing happened. He just all happy-go-lucky, the power positivity. He comes out. He does his little entrance. And, I'm going to get to it in a second. I know they had to promote the scam known as Susan G. Komen. We all know it's a fucking scam. Don't argue with me. I know it is. Listen, I get cancer. It's a very important thing, especially people that survive it. But the Susan G. Komen thing is a scam. It's nothing against the people that are, survivors and stuff, but that whole it's a fucking scam. Look it up. It's a scam. Okay? A scam. It is a scam. Alright? And I know Woods and them have to put it over, but Kofi, it's just like, he doesn't even care. He's just happy-go-lucky. Like, nothing didn't even happen last week. It's just like he came out, and you would have never even thought he lost the WWE title in such a horrible way in 8 seconds a week ago. And it's like, no, he didn't look disheveled. He didn't look depressed. He didn't look like he had revenge on his mind or anger or even wanted a shot at the WWE title back. He just came out like nothing happened, throw some pancakes, be happy-go-lucky, dance around. It's just like Kobe just went back to the mid-card level now, or just tag team in general. So, it's kind of sad to see. I said what I had to say last week about the whole thing. They just wanted the belt off Kofi that bad. I would have even been fine with 5 minutes, but the fact that the guy didn't even put up a fight and he just ran into Lesnar and got F5 was just, it was fucking stupid. It was ridiculous. So, yeah, but let's promote Vasquez because we need to, Fox got to make these changes to have MMA fighters, but you just killed a guy that was at least one of the most credible face champions on the show, and you made his title reign look like shit, and now I don't think he will ever get another shot at the WWE title. Maybe if the belt is off Lesnar. I don't know, but now, just happy-go-lucky, throwing pancakes, just like nothing ever happened. You never thought he would have lost the WWE title. Hell, you may have never even thought he would have even been the WWE champion to begin with. Just no more mention of Brock Lesnar. He just moved on. That's all what happened. So, at the end of the day, Kofi Kingston got fucked over. I don't care what anybody says. He got fucked over at the end of the day. So, it's just now that the fact that he's just happy-go-lucky, it just makes no sense. And, they go against the OC, and, he pins AJ Styles, Trouble in Paradise. So, there you go. Is he going to go after the U.S. title? I don't know. And then again, I can't even say the U.S. title also, because I bet you now the New Day will still be on Smackdown if necessary. I got one trio team on Raw. They're not going to put 2 trio teams on the same show, okay? I know we pinned AJ and everything, but where does that go? I don't know, man. I just know I don't think Kofi Kingston will ever be at the WWE Championship anytime soon, or hell, in fact, maybe ever again. So, I don't know. Next, what else is in this show? I've already went through the draft thing and how they fucked that whole thing up, and We're not gonna go. I'm not gonna go into all the highlights of the Fox analysts, but here's the biggest highlight of the entire night that is mostly known in this show: Charlotte versus Bayley for the SmackDown Women's title again, the rematch. And what do we see from here? Number one, the champion comes out first. That makes no sense. But the highlight to see from here is Bayley, who came out, who had black and gold on. She had a haircut. Her hair was a bit shorter. And the next thing you know, her music stopped. She stopped being happy-go-lucky. And she picked up an axe. And she started hitting her inflatable tube guys, the Bayley buddies or whatnot. So Bayley is now Dark Bayley. Yeah, so that's what it looked like. She is Dark Bayley now. Now, as for this match, I thought it was okay. It was what it was, but here's where a lot of things don't make sense. And I'm not hating on Bayley's, new thing. I think it was finally time for a change with Bayley anyways. I'm sure a lot of people are fine with that. They want to see a dark version of Bayley. I know some people said it wasn't going to work, and they said she cannot be a heel because you had her built as a big face, especially from NXT, but since WWE ruined her for the past, I don't know how many years as a face and made it look like shit. I know they turned her heel technically with Sasha, but it was kind of still the same. So now, they have now changed Bayley. This is now a whole new heel Bayley, a new gimmick, a darker Bayley, Dark Bayley. Now, as the match went on, I think Charlotte had bled at one point. I don't know if it was through her nose, but she did bleed, and there was some blood at the time. She did that freaking moonsault again, except off the apron, off the barricade outside. Still looked like she missed. Then did another one in the ring. Bayley put her feet up. Charlotte had a Boston Crab and tried to go for a figure eight, but Bayley kicked her to turnbuckle. Bayley then went for, tried to get the roll up, did not work. She did her elbow. Bayley got pissed again. Charlotte hit a natural selection. She tried to go for the figure eight, but Bayley rolled her up for the win, and Bayley won the title back, becoming a 3-time champion. What was the point of putting the belt back on Charlotte? Just for her to lose it in about a week. Some people say she's like Sasha now. She can't defend the title. So this was all... Listen, there's a lot of negatives and little positives to this. Number one, it made no sense to put the belt back on Charlotte. So for last Sunday, just to take the belt off her on Smackdown to put it back on Bayley, because now Bayley is a heel now, okay? Well, full-on heel gimmick, her new thing, which makes sense because now she's got a new gimmick. But what was the point of putting the belt back on her? You just wanted to give her a number, okay? That's all you wanted to do. You just wanted to make Charlotte the 10-time champion just for the point. And I know people are already seeing through this. I've said it before. She will be 16-time champion soon enough, or probably 20-time champion so she could beat Ric Flair's record. But it's almost like you just took the belt off Bayley for no reason, just to put it back on her a few days later, which makes no sense. And I knew it was something odd once the champion came out first, but since Bayley's got this whole new gimmick going on, or heel thing, they had to put the belt back on her. And, Charlotte just got up and she just walked out the ring, nothing else from it and left. And, before the show ended, Bayley pretty much said, "Hey, bitches, screw all of you," took the microphone and went off. So, number one, people like heel Bayley, it looks like. The fans seem to like her. Some people on the internet believe she's more hotter with the short hair. I think this can work. This has been long overdue for her to turn and have a new look and attitude, and I guess it may be working. I don't know. Let's give this a chance to see where this comes from. I do believe a lot of people say it's a shame that they could never book Bayley face right, because this woman was like one of the top face in NXT at the time when she was the champion over there. But, and some people always say she was like the new John Cena, but they end up killing that and ruining her for the past few years, that now they had no choice but to turn her heel. Hopefully this is a breath of fresh air for her. It looks like it's already going. Like I said, she's got a new look, black and gold. She's more heel. She had new music. She had new music after the match too. So, hopefully something great can come from this. I will say that. I just think it was ridiculous putting the belt back on Charlotte just to put it back on Bayley a few days later, just because you now gave her a new gimmick, though. So, like I said, there are negatives and positives to this, alright? Overall, this show really sucked. Okay? It was not good. There were many things bad from this. from the predictability of the draft and then pretty much giving it away early in the day that you could just now predict everything in your head. And I'm going to go into Monday's thing for a second. And what else was bad? Kofi being non-existent, that nothing, it's almost like he had amnesia or he had Men in Black guys just disappear everything from his head. Hey, you were never the WWE champion. Oh, what WWE title last week? I don't remember losing in 8 seconds looking like shit last week. I'm just going to move on and be happy again. Just be the same old Kofi Kingston, be positive and throw pancakes again. So, I like Kofi Kingston, but they just did him wrong, okay? Shorty G, I'm sure you all know what to say about Shorty Gable, since I know it sounds horrible. But, come on, they love making fun of short people a lot. The fact that they did the Wyatt and Seth thing again, just to send Wyatt to SmackDown, makes no sense. So it's not like we're ever going to see Seth versus Wyatt anymore at this time, since they will most likely be, well, they are going to be on different shows. So there you go on that. So I know Bray Wyatt ain't about to take no belt off Brock Lesnar. I'll tell you that right now. If that ever happens, it ain't happening, buddy. It's not happening. What else? I'm trying to remember. Like I said, other than the title change, most of the show was bad. Really was. It just wasn't good. A lot of these picks didn't make any sense. And, yeah, it was just what it was. You know, the Heyman and Lesnar thing and, you know, Velasquez was alright. But I ask you all this question. Does anybody, and I mean anybody, see, do they see Brock losing the title? I don't. Obviously, this may not be a one-time thing, since Velasquez has signed a multi-year company. I don't know whatever happened to him with AAA. I guess he just left AAA without anybody really knowing. So that just kind of went on and passed right by. So there you go on that. But, and you know, they hyped up for Monday. And I may be wrong on this, but I'm going to go over this right now, who I think is going to be on these shows on Monday. Seth Rollins, Raw. Brock, SmackDown. Charlotte most likely now will be going to Monday Night Raw, because I think they want to keep her away from the title, but they'll probably do something with that. Charlotte, Raw. Titus O'Neil, SmackDown. Nakamura, I would say Raw right here, but they're going to have to, and Sami Zayn's part of this team too. You might as well leave him on SmackDown, because you already got the U.S. title on Raw. So, just put you're going to leave the Intercontinental on SmackDown. You get the U.S. on Raw. So, Nakamura and Sami Zayn, SmackDown. Aleister Black, Raw. New Day, SmackDown. Daniel Bryan, Raw. Bayley, well, obviously that's SmackDown. That's a no-brainer. Harper, Raw. Rowan, Raw. Miz, SmackDown. Mustafa Ali, Raw. Corbin, SmackDown. Elias, Raw. Rude and Ziggler, they're the fucking tag team champions. Monday Night Raw. Asuka and Kairi, SmackDown, but they never really left SmackDown. Rusev, Raw. With gotta fight Bobby Lashley. Cedric, SmackDown. He needs to go. I said Raw. No. Let me say that again. Elias, Raw. Rude and Ziggler, Raw. Samoa Joe, SmackDown, which he was already on SmackDown. Asuka and Kairi on Raw. Rusev may be SmackDown, but they're probably going to keep him on Raw. This feud. That's why. I'm trying to count this right here. Raw, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Raw. Mysterio maybe Raw. Truth, Raw. Carmella, SmackDown. AOP, Raw. Cruz, SmackDown. Almas, Raw. They're not gonna separate him and Charlotte. Who else? Let me see. Raw, SmackDown, Raw, SmackDown, Raw. Liv Morgan. They know she was still there. Raw. Jinder Mahal, SmackDown. Buddy Murphy, Raw. Shit, I'm getting these numbers fucked up. Hold on now. I'm trying to get this right. Yeah, Raw, SmackDown, Raw. SmackDown, Mojo. Raw, Jose. Dana Brooke, Raw. Shelton, SmackDown. Hawkins are right on Monday Night Raw. Iconic Smackdown. Hold up. Raw, Smackdown, Raw. Raw, Smackdown, Raw. Smackdown? Sarah Logan, Raw. Mandy Rose and DeVille, Raw. Rockstar Spud, Smackdown. Yeah, I'm sorry if I stalled. I was really trying to count that right, but I would not be surprised if all those picks are right. I'm saying. By the way, it's not even a full roster, I believe, too, because I'm sure that people missing. Even I know Matt Hardy even said he was missing from it. He's not even eligible. Well, they said people who aren't picked will be free drafts. So, I don't know, man. You know, this thing makes no sense to me. It honestly doesn't. It's just kind of there to be there. So, I don't know what you can really take from this at the end of the day. Okay? That's what I think who's going to be picked in the draft. That's my opinion. So, whatever happens, it just happens. Alright? But other than that, I'm done with this review. This show just made no sense. We'll see what happens on Monday Night Raw, but I can't see this draft really even being that better, to be honest. So, it's just very predictable after what I saw tonight. But I'm done with this review. Comment, subscribe. Tell me what you thought about this draft night for night 1 of SmackDown here for the draft. I don't know what you think about the show, but I wasn't that big of a fan of it, so there you go. Comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter at HoodedKnight890. I'm going to watch Impact. That was probably a better show than what I saw tonight on here, okay? Impact was a better show, most likely. I'm going to go watch that right now. And Bound for Glory is next week, so I most likely will be going to Bound for Glory. I am going to Bound for Glory, I believe. So there you go on that. But I'm out of here. I'll see you guys later. Peace. We'll see what happens when Blood Money 3 comes up also. I'm out.